Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Soshtavi and it has been a while since I made my last video. I'm not gonna talk too much about why it's been so long because I don't think anybody cares. But I just kind of fell into a slump, I think. I think that, and also couple that with the fact that I started making these videos because I was trying to cope with the fact that my dog was sick and then passed away. And I was like hyper fixating on books to help me get through that time and to cope with everything. And that's why I had started making these videos. And over time, it really helped me clearly, and I didn't feel the need to depend on making these videos and on books to get through things. And I'm not saying I'm like so good this year. I've surpassed everything I had to cope through in life, but I am doing a lot better, and I think and I've also been working a lot more this year, and which has left me with not as much time as I had last year. So I think all of that kind of led to just me being in a slump and not making any videos. I also wasn't reading as much, although I was reading enough to keep making videos. But yeah, compared to last year, I read over 70 books last year. Like I said, I was using my books as a crutch. I've read a lot less this year. Recently, I was feeling like I wanna get back to making these videos again, not just because I depend on it for my mental health, but because I actually enjoy it. I've actually been having so much fun doing this the last year or so. So I thought, you know what, I don't care if it's been months since I've done something on this channel. I want to talk about the books I've been reading this year, so I'm going to make this video. So this is a wrap up all the way from February to now, to the end of October. Last wrap up I did was for January, and I haven't talked about what books I've read ever since then. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into all the books I've been reading this year. Okay, to start off, after my January books that I read that I mentioned in that video, the first book I got into was Onyx Storm. I don't have the copy with me right now. I mean, I do, it's in my library. It's like buried deep in my shelves. I'm not removing it right now. But I read Onyx Storm. I have a reading vlog about it up on my channel already if you want to check out my full complete thoughts. I also have a discussion video on it on my channel if you want to check that out as well. I read that with a friend. I was not impressed with the book. I'll just say that I was not impressed with the book. I feel like photoing the series with every book we've just been going a little bit downhill. I still will read ahead because I am curious about the world. I love the world and I love the characters especially, so I want to know how this story ends and everything. I still have excitement in me about that series, but I was not happy with Onyx Storm. I think one of the only reasons I really enjoyed it was because of the characters and because I read it with my friend, so I have like that as time associated in my head with the book. But yeah, Onyx Storm wasn't the biggest fan of it, but the reading vlog was still fun. It was really fun, and I have a whole discussion video up as well about all the plot theories and questions I have about the book that you can check out as well. So I will link both of them. Go through that to know my detailed thoughts. Next, I'm not going in any particular order, but earlier in the year I read two hockey romances, Wildcat and Weakside. Now, I don't remember anything about these books, to be honest. I do remember that I think I enjoyed reading Weakside more than Wildcat. Like, I really enjoyed it. But apart from that, I don't remember much. They were very basic romances. As sports romances go, they were pretty basic and simple. But that's what I was in the mood for during that time, and they were sufficient. That's all I can say. And also, earlier in the year, I read 1984 by George Orwell. Now, this is a book that I have been waiting to read for a very long time. It was required reading for me in college, and I never read it because I don't like doing things when I'm told to do things. But I am glad that I got to it finally, and especially I'm glad that I got to it this year. Given the state of our world, I feel like this book is more relevant now than ever before. I would honestly highly recommend. It's a dystopian novel, and it is so relevant to our current times right now. All the metaphors and the analogy are so perfect for our world right now. The writing is a little bit what some people would call highbrow, I guess, but it's not difficult to understand, and it may seem slow, and it is very expansive. Like, it's not fast moving, it's not cut to cut. It is a lot of explanation kind of a book, but it's so worth it. Genuinely, it's such a good book, and there are so many great gems that I found in this book. I'm not gonna read them all out because there's just too many good things about this book, but I have posted snippets about this on my Instagram, so if you want to check that out, you can go see those over there. Genuinely, the way it presents the social and political structures is, it's something. Genuinely, read this, you will not be disappointed. Next, I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I read this on a vacation actually, and I have a vlog about that vacation on my channel. I'll link that down below as well. So I read this during that vacation, and I have talked about this in that video. So you can check out all my thoughts about this in that video. What I will say right now is that it was nice. I went into this with really high expectations because everybody on this planet somehow loves Abby Jimenez and loves this book in particular. So I was really excited for it, and I felt like it would be something I would enjoy, but it wasn't really. Like, it was nice, I did like it, there were parts that I really loved, but a lot of it like was just falling flat for me. The chemistry wasn't out of this world for me the way a lot of people presented it to be, online at least. And I must say, I think a lot of the reasons for it were also just my personal biases getting in the way. There are certain things in this plot that I did not know would be a very big part of the plot, and it's just something that I personally am not into. It's not for me, and I didn't know that the book would revolve around that. So it was just kind of really taking me out of the story the entire time. My personal biases were interfering quite a lot while reading this, which is why I think I wasn't enjoying this as much as I could have. On a general level, I would recommend it to everyone because I know that if like you're not someone who has a brain like me, you will enjoy it. So yeah, that's Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Okay, then we come to a romance, which is finally something that was really enjoyable for me, which was The Right Move by Liz Tomford. Now this is part of the Windy City series. I tried reading Mile High last year, and I wasn't a fan, like, at all. I absolutely hated that book, but I knew that according to what I've seen on the internet, The Right Move might be the book for me. So I continued with the series. I picked this one up, and honestly, I freaking loved it. Holy shit. When I say Ryan Shea is the blueprint for a book boyfriend, oh my god. I know this book came out late in the series. We already have a lot of book boyfriends before this one. But oh my god, this one, like, within the first 50 pages, I was like, holy shit, this guy. It was just so good. Their romance was so good. The characters were so well fleshed out, which is something I feel like I'm always missing in romances, that the characters just aren't fully fleshed out. I don't know who they are as people apart from who they are to each other. And over here, we see that coming completely alive, which I really appreciate. I think towards the end, the story kind of started falling flat for me because I've always said this, I don't think a romance needs to be more than 300 pages because there's not much to say. Let's be very real, there's not much to say. So after a point, I was like, we're just stretching the book out, we don't need all this. And then towards the end, the plot also became really serious and started revolving around a particular thing in the plot, which again, I'm not a fan of. It's a me problem. So that was taking me out of the story. But apart from that, this book is perfect. Genuinely perfect. Ryan Shea is perfect. I really loved Indy as well. By the way, if you didn't know, this is a sports romance. He's a basketball player. So it's a basketball sports romance, and it's basically about Indy. She moves into the flat with Ryan. Indy is the friend of the girl from the first book, Mile High. So she moves in with Ryan. He's the brother of the girl in the first book in Mile High. It's about the two of them rooming together, even though they don't want to be roomed together. And Indy from the very get-go is like, she wants to jump him. Like, she likes him. She is into him, okay? We know that from the very beginning, and she moves into the apartment knowing that she has a thing for him. So it kind of, even though that sounds like it's like love at first sight, it's not really. But it builds up, it takes its time with the build-up. It is really well done. And he's such an acts of service boyfriend, it's not even funny. Read it, you'll have a good time. Next, oh my god, I want to talk about this Say You Sway by Megan Brandy. Oh my god, when I tell you this book was such fucking rage bait, it's not even funny. I saw online everywhere, everyone just freaking the fuck out about how good this book is, and I was like, holy shit, I think I'm gonna like it.
Wrong.
This book, oh my god, it feels like it's been written by a fucking 12-year-old. I could not sit through it. I could not finish it. It simply was so terrible. It genuinely, it's the plot. It's certain, it has to be. I don't know. I don't wanna no shit to the author, but it feels like it's written by like a 12-year-old pretending to be an 18-year-old. Like this is what how they imagine things would go in the life of a teenager. This is how they imagine 18-year-olds would talk and interact, and it's just, it was giving me the ick the entire time. It's like a Wattpad book, but not a fun one. The trashy, terrible ones where you're just like, why the fuck am I on this? And I spent money on this shit. It was so bad. It was so bad. I uploaded like a plethora of Instagram stories complaining about this book while I was reading it, because I was just like, there's no way this book is fucking real. There's no way people are fans of this book. How? Oh my god, every time, I'm not even kidding, I look at this book and I get angry. I look at the cover and I get angry. I don't know what to do with this. Don't read this, it fucking sucks. Anyway, moving on. I read another great book after this fucking rage bait, which was The Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, of course. This is a part of the Hunger Games universe. It's a prequel. It's a sequel to the first prequel that we had. I freaking loved this book. I have a video dedicated to this book, by the way, so I'll link that down below if you want to check it out. I've loved every Hunger Games book, and I'm not surprised to love this one as well. It was just so good, so much more insightful into the world of Hunger Games. And I think the biggest takeaway I got from this book is, which I think is again very relevant for our times, is that a revolution doesn't happen overnight. And it gave us so much more perspective into the revolution we see happening in the Hunger Games, and how much it's actually a ball that's been sent rolling from a long way before. It's like a butterfly effect, a revolution, which is why I think it's so important that, when people say, oh, we can like protest, we can do this, we can do that, we can take these steps, it doesn't matter, I'm just one person, my voice won't actually have any kind of effect. But it can. It very much can. It may not have an effect right now, but it can send the ball rolling for like 50-70 years in the future. So which is why it's important to speak up. It is important to use your voice. That's my main takeaway from this book. But apart from that, obviously the story is phenomenal, the character is phenomenal. Oh my god, I can't wait for the movie. The movie is gonna be so good, because every Hunger Games movie has been so good. I'm so excited for it. So yeah, a video on this linked below. I have a video on the Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes as well, both the book and the movie, which I will also link down below. That was also fantastic. Freaking love this book. If you're still late to the Hunger Games series, I don't know what to tell you. You need to catch up. You really need to catch up. And if you still haven't read this, pick it up. Genuinely, you will not be disappointed. Next, I read Watch Me by Tahara Mafi. I don't have much to say about this except the fact that the cover is fucking beautiful. It's so pretty. But this is a new book in the Shadow Me series. Now, Shadow Me series is a pretty classic one on Book Talk. It's been here for like a decade or so at this point. I really enjoyed the Shatter Me series. Was it the best thing ever? No, but in a fun, oh my god, okay, it was a nice series. I really enjoyed it. I really love Aaron Warner. I like Juliet. I like Kenji. So I do like the Shatter Me series quite a lot. Do I think the series needs a new book or a new plot in this world? Absolutely not. But here we are anyway. I initially was confused about whether I want to pick up this book, but then I was like, sure, why not? Let's go ahead. Picked it up. It had nothing to offer. Like genuinely, apart from all the moments with like Warner, Juliet and Kenji, this book gave us nothing. It honestly feels like a repeat of the Shatter Me series, but instead of the main love interest in this book being an Aaron, it's a Kenji. But the girl is pretty much like an AU version of Juliet. I don't really have anything to say about this, apart from the fact that the ending was really interesting. The ending was something that I was like, hold on. Now that's a great ending. I would like to know what happens ahead. Does that mean I want to read the next book in the series? I honestly don't think so. I don't want to read it, but I do want to know what happens ahead. Maybe I'll read a summary later or something. If I'm crazy enough, which I know I am, and I'm impulsive like that, I might just buy this book at the moment of, because I want to know what's going on with Warner and Juliet. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. I have no idea. As of now, I have no interest in going ahead with this. It was unnecessary. But the cover is pretty. Look at my page markers. Ah, they're so pretty. It's good to look at least. I forgot to mention another big release I read this year was Fearless by Lauren Roberts. Another disappointing book. Oh my god. I have a reading blog about this that I never posted. I plan to post it anyway though, even though it's been months since the book came out. I read this with a friend again. The same friend I read Onyx Storm with. I read this one with her. So that video will also be posted soon for sure. I haven't edited yet. That's when I fell into the slump and I never put this up again. And I never uploaded a video again, but I will upload this video. So you'll get to see my detailed thought process about how I felt about this book in that video. But I wasn't a fan at all. So disappointing. I feel like again with the way Fourth Wing has gone, the Powerless series is the third book in the Powerless series. The series has just gone down with every book and it's so disappointing. Now, months later, I really cannot remember a single good thing about this book, honestly. Like, it's very unfortunate what happened with this series, at least for me. But that's what it is. I still really love Powerless, which is the first book. Really love that. If you're into fantasies or if you want to get into fantasies, Powerless would be like a really good first book for you. It's a great story specifically for its romance. Like, the romance is beautiful. I still think Lauren Roberts has a really good way with words when she's writing her romances. So I do think she has a lot of potential and I'm looking forward to what she puts out in the future, because I think that, you know, this is her debut series. She'll obviously get better and better. So I can't wait to see what she puts out in the future. I will be reading that for sure. But apart from the first book, everything else is kind of like a dud. Like, I mean, Reckless was also good, but it wasn't great. And then this one was completely disappointing. That's all I have to say. The Powerless series turned out to be a dud. But that's okay. Once again, this is a pretty book. I love the combination of the green with the pink foil. So at least it's pretty to look at. Next, I want to talk about Bear Town by Frederick Bachman. I made two detailed videos about this on my Instagram if you want to check that out, which will give a little bit more insight about what this book is and how I felt about it. And I will say before anything else, the book doesn't talk about it, but I think it needs to be talked about. It should ideally have a trigger warning for rape and online harassment. It doesn't come with the trigger warning, but I will let you know that the entire story is pretty much about that. So be careful when you get into this book. But apart from the trigger warning, this book is about a hockey town. Basically, it's about a town that's centered around hockey. That's the one thing that the town has going for it. As always in every Frederick Bachman book, we follow a bunch of different characters around this town. We follow a lot of the hockey players, the parents, the coaches, the siblings, bunch of different people that we get to know in this hockey world. The book is all about the sport, how it interacts with every single person's life in this town, how all of them influence each other, and then of course there's an incident that happens and how that causes a ripple in this town and how that changes everything and the effects of that. Yeah, I will say that I was caught a little off guard by how heavy this book was, because again there was no trigger warning, and while I wasn't triggered by it, I wasn't expecting the plot to go in that direction, because nowhere in the summary does it mention that this is what the plot is about. All it says is that it's a hockey town, you know. So I was not expecting the plot to be this. Once I got used to that fact, the book was brilliant. The issues the book has tackled has been done so well. It does such a good job of diving into so many different perspectives and so many different people, sheds light on so many aspects of rape and harassment and online abuse. Genuinely, this book, I must say, it was sometimes really, it was rageful to read, but in the right kind of way. When you're angry reading this book, it's because it's supposed to make you feel angry, not because you're angry about what this book is, you know. There were times when I was really angry and really sad, but that just means the book did its job, because it's supposed to make you feel that way. Yeah, it is a heavy one. I've read a few other Frederick Bachman books, and compared to those, this one is definitely on the heavier side, but it still, you know, is wholesome. It has its moments. That's Bear Town. If it interests you, do pick it up. I will say that he's one of my favorite authors. The way he writes a story is so unique. Anxious People by him is one of my all-time favorite books. So I wanted to get to Bear Town for a while, and I'm very glad I got to it. I know this has sequels and stuff, which I can't wait to get to as well, hopefully in the future, not anytime soon. That's Bear Town by Frederick Bachman. I would recommend. Next, I'm gonna quickly brush through this. It's The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Olivia Blake is an author I've been wanting to check out for a while now. All her books I've heard are like very different from each other, very different genres and stuff like that. But I wanted to start with the Atlas 6 because I thought it would be just the right book to start with. It's supposed to be a fantasy, dark academia kind of a vibe. It's a trilogy, it's the first book in the trilogy, and I will not be going ahead with this because I did not enjoy the book. This book is really just so pretentious. I don't initially, honestly, the way the book started, I had hopes for it. It started off really nice. It was providing the right kind of setting and everything, and I felt really hopeful about the book because I was like, oh my god, I'm enjoying this. We were getting introduced to all these different characters and their powers and everything, and I was like, this sounds fun. Before I get into that though, this is a fantasy dark academia setting book. It's about like these 5-6 characters. They're all like different types of magicians, and they all get called for this chance to enter a secret society. So they're all competing for a year to have a chance in the secret society. It's supposed to be like a magical academic competition kind of a thing that they're entering, but this book is just so bland. Once we get into who the characters are, the story goes nowhere. Like, these characters are so pretentious and they're so fucking cryptic for no reason at all, and there's just no plot. There is no plot at all. Really, like 200 pages into the book and there's no progress being made. We're still at the same point where we started the book at. We start the book off with all these characters being snarky with each other and not trusting each other and being cryptic with each other. 200 pages in, the same thing is going on. Nobody likes anyone, nobody trusts anyone, there's no progress in any of the relationships. There are things that are happening in the plot supposedly that, you know, oh, these two people were studying something and they made something happen, but we don't actually see that happening. What was this big magical thing they did? We don't see it happening. We just hear about it from the other characters. So we're just always hearing about these things, these big things that will happen or are happening, but we never see them happening. The characters are so full of themselves. They all have such extraordinary abilities, but we're never really getting to see them in their effect. It was just, I don't know what was going on in this book. It was just so boring. Very pretentious. Very pretentious. I am not continuing with this series. I will check out other books by Olivia Blake because they might be more to my taste. Who knows? They're different genres. But this one definitely was not it for me, so I'm not going ahead with the series. The next two books I want to talk about are The Chase and the Risk by L. Kennedy. They are part of the Briar You series. We have the Briar You series, which is like The Deal, The Mistake, yada yada yada. So this is the series that comes after that. We have The Chase, the first book, and The Risk, the second book. I read both of them one after the other, and it was just so good. I honestly had reached a slumping point where I hadn't read a book for months. And when I started feeling like I want to get back into reading, I knew that L. Kennedy would be just the right choice, because like a fun rom-com is a great book to start getting back into reading when you're in a slump. And an L. Kennedy one for me is perfect. Like, I feel like she is one of the best romance authors out there, because her romances are genuinely romantic. They're actually fun. They have a found family aspect in them. They're written well. They're not misogynistic. They don't treat their characters or their readers as dumb. It's honestly just so fun to read her books, and these two books did not disappoint, especially The Risk. Oh my god, The Chase was good. The Risk though was amazing. I loved that book. Both the characters were just the kind of characters I enjoy reading about. The plot was great. They had so much spark, so much chemistry. I genuinely, my god, I was having so much fun reading The Risk. I know eventually someday I will reread that one for sure. I think it might be my favorite L. Kennedy book after The Deal, or maybe even better than that. I don't know. I don't remember much about The Deal. Like, I just remember that I really loved it. And I really love The Risk as well. Yeah, these are hockey sports romances set in a college university. They're adult romances, so they are open doors. So only read this if you're above 18, but it's such a good book. Oh my god. The best sports romances out there, these books, and they pulled me right out of my slump. I will be reading the next two books in the series as well, hopefully sometime soon. That's it for now. Then I read another new release for this year, which is Not Quite Dead by Holly Jackson. Holly Jackson, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that she's one of my favorite authors, especially in the crime, thriller, mystery area. She is so phenomenal at what she does. Every book she writes is so gripping, almost every book. She's the author of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That's a very popular one. I'm sure you've heard about it on TikTok. Love that series. Absolutely one of my favorites of all time as well. So she came out with a new book, and this one is an adult mystery. So all her other books have been young adult, but this one's an adult one. And once again, I really loved this book. I will say I don't see why this book is categorized as an adult book, because the writing style and the plot are really no different from her young adult books. Like there's zero difference between this and her young adult books, apart from the fact that the character cusses a little bit and the fact that she is of an adult age, whereas the people in her young adult novel are teenagers. But apart from the fact that there's an age difference, there's really no difference between the way she writes the plot, the writing style of it, and the plot in itself, because her plot in her young adult books are also extremely dark. So I don't know why this is categorized as an adult book, but whatever, that's not my main concern. Apart from that, honestly, this was a fantastic book. It was again very engaging, and I feel like every Holly Jackson book I start off with like a main two characters. I'm always like, maybe this book I will not enjoy these characters as much, maybe this book I won't like them as much, and by the end of the book I'm always like, shit, I like these characters. Like, I don't know how she does this, but characters that you feel like you wouldn't really enjoy, she ends up making you really like them, which is something I love about her books. The plot was crazy good as well, and I once again, as always, guessed who our killer was way in the beginning. Like really early on, I was like, oh, I think this is who the killer is. Super proud of myself. Again, it strokes my ego when I'm able to find out who the killer is or find out what the twist is very early on in the book. And not to flex, I do it pretty much every book as well. It feels like a reward, you know. Like in some books you're able to figure out the plot twist because the writing is bad and you're just like, that was no fun. But in some books you figure out the plot twist and you're just like, oh my god, it feels like a reward because it's so well written. And this is one of those books. Not quite dead yet. Really happy with the book. Would highly recommend. Next, I read The Lucky List by Rachel Lippincott. Not much to say about this. It's an easygoing summer romance book. I think this is a book that's more appropriate for people in their teens, like genuinely young adult audience, because now reading this in my 20s, I was like, this is nice, but it's not giving me anything that I am so in awe of. But I think as a teenager, this would be really fun to read, especially in your first half of your teens. It would be really cute to read. So if you are in that age category, or if you know someone in that age category, I would recommend this book for them. It's really sweet, it's really cute and wholesome. It's just not all that for me. Next, I read another book that's become the love of my life, and that is Circe by Madeline Miller. Oh my god, this book, it's a Greek mythology retelling of Circe, the goddess. I've read the Song of Achilles by her last year and I loved that book, and somehow this book is like 10 times better. Oh my god, I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed this book. It is the entire life story retelling of Circe, and it's been so beautifully written. First of all, the writing, it's so beautifully well done. It is so all encompassing. I feel so molded into her world when I read this book. The character sketch is just so well done. I felt for Circe throughout this book. Every time something major was happening, I felt like I was there with her, feeling her pain. All the different Greek stories have come together so well in this book, honestly. And once again, reading this put me back into the Greek stories mood, and I feel like I want to read more and more books around Greek retellings. So super happy with this book. I know she doesn't have another book. She's working on one, but she doesn't have one out yet, and I'm just waiting for her to put out another book, because this was so good. Definitely one of my favorites. Circe, I have so much awe for her now that I know her story in full. Oh my god, I feel like she does women's stories so well. She's done so much justice to her story. I feel like she does women's stories really well, even though this is the first one I've read from her. But I love when a woman's story is done really well, and it's giving justice, the kind of justice that we don't see in Greek stories otherwise. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I really enjoyed this book. If you're into Greek retellings, or if you're just into stories about women, if you're just into affecting stories about women, you should give Circe a try. It's so well done. Even if you're not into Greek stories, it's written in a way where you don't feel like you're being bogged down by the mythology as much. It feels like you're reading any casual story, about a woman and her life. It's so good. Please, please read this book. It is beautiful. I'm getting tired of talking now. I can feel myself losing my voice, honestly. But let's quickly go through the rest of the books. We don't have many left anyway. Next, I read The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I read The 7-Year Slip by this author last year and it became one of my all-time favorite books ever. That book is everything to me. I recommend that book to you no matter what circumstance, no matter what stage of life you're in, no matter what genre you like. Please read that book. That book is everything to me. I have a discussion about that book as well. I will link that down below. I've been looking forward to reading all her other books as well, slowly and steadily. So I picked up The Dead Romantics this year. It was nice. I really enjoyed it. I think my expectations were so high after The 7-Year Slip. I was expecting a little bit more from this book, and it wasn't all that much. I didn't touch that ceiling that I put out for this book, but it was still a lot of good fun. I think it was a lot more simpler than The 7-Year Slip in terms of the emotions it evokes from you, but despite that, it was fun. It was really cute. I had a good time. And I'm happy with that. Next, I read Fake Skating, another new release by Lynn Painter this year. I honestly didn't remember pre-ordering this. I think I must have. I usually see a lot of new books coming out and if they're available for pre-order, I just place a pre-order in that moment, and sometimes I forget about them. This is the one I forgot about. I had to actually cancel this because I had lost interest in this book. I only placed a pre-order because it was ice hockey romance. There was no other reason for this. I'm not into like reading any more of Lynn Painter's books anymore, but then this arrived and I was like, okay, it's here, might as well read this and give it a chance. And honestly, this book was okay. It wasn't a bad book, but it wasn't anything memorable. It was very basic. It was nice, I guess. I'm actually trying to remember what happened in this book. I usually like write notes in all of my books, but I've written nothing over here, so I can't even like go back to my notes to see how I felt about this. It's just standard what you would expect out of Lynn Painter and what you would expect out of a young adult romance, especially sports romance. It was okay. It wasn't something like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. I don't think it's something you need to reach for though. I do like the color scheme though. Like, I've never seen someone do a combination of red and blue for a book, especially for a romance, and I kind of like what they did here for the cover. Then I read None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. It's a murder mystery, an adult murder mystery. This was pretty good. I think again I had way too high an expectation for this based off of everything I've heard on the internet about it. It did not meet those high expectations, but it wasn't a bad book either. It was good. I enjoyed it, but I think it took far too long to reveal things in the plot. Like, after a point I was like, in a murder mystery you have to reveal a few things through the plot to keep the engagement going up, and she waited far too long to reveal anything major in the book, which is why a lot of the first half I kept feeling like, I don't know why I'm reading this, what is the point of all this, But it was a pretty good book. I did figure out a lot of things again, so it didn't feel like, it was some kind of mystery that I would have never been able to guess. I can appreciate the thought for the twist in this book, and I can appreciate what the title points out to. So it was a good book. But it wasn't all that. It's not in my top mystery books for sure, but it was a good book. I would recommend. And the last few books I want to talk about, my god, this video is long, is the series that I just read for a video. So that video will be out soon, but I am doing a video on the Infernal Devices books. I am doing a video about whether these books are still good to the adult version of me. The Infernal Devices, if you don't know, are a trilogy set in the Shadowhunters world by Cassandra Clare. This is the prequel trilogy to the main series that we have in this world, which is the Mortal Instruments. I read these books as I was a teenager, and I really loved these books, especially the trilogy. I really enjoyed. However, I haven't read these books ever since. So it's been at least a decade since I read these books, and I was slowly reading the Mortal Instruments the last couple of years, like rereading those books, and I was realizing that those books aren't as good as teenage me thought they were. And so I've been like waiting for a while to like, reread these books and see if I actually do like them still, or if they were only good to, again, the teenage version of me. Plus there's like a new Cassie Clare book coming out in December, and the final series in this world is coming out next year. So I was like, this feels like the right time to get into the series and see how I feel about it. So I did. I read all three of them, which is The Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. How I felt about them, I won't tell you right now. The question is, do you think these books still stand? Do you think these books are still good, reading this right now as an adult in my 20s? Or do you think it was only good to 15-year-old me? I'm not telling you that right now. I'm sorry, I'm not telling you how I felt about these books right now. You can check out the video I did to see how I feel, because it's a lot of feelings. It's a lot of feelings. You'll see what I mean when you see the video. I must say there was a point where I was like, maybe I'm over the Shadowhunter world and I don't care to read the final series. Like, it's been far too long. You know, it's been way too long. But now that we're getting closer to it and I've read the series, I'm just like, you know what? This is something that teenage me really loved. Like, these books were my world back then. So I would like to see how we end it off. So I might just read The Wicked Powers, which is the new series, when it starts coming out. But for now, for these books, do they stand the test of time? You shall know in my video. And that's it. Oh my god, I have been yapping for like 46 minutes straight. My throat is like dead right now. Hopefully the next video, the next wrap up won't take as long and won't be filled with these many books. These were like 20 books or something, probably more. That's all the books I've read this year. Let me know if you've read any of them, if you have the same opinions as me, if you have a different opinion from me. Go ahead, you can say it, I don't mind. And let me know what you're reading right now. That's all the books I've read this year so far. Damn, I enjoyed making this video. It's been a while since I just put my camera on and yapped about what I'm reading. So this was fun. Thank you so much for listening if you're still here. Like, share, subscribe and comment. Follow my Instagram. It will all be linked down below. And thank you so much for watching.